crore rupees due to rise in working capital and growth capex. In some global news, a spike in cost of living, costlier food prices and unaffordable energy costs. Major economies in Europe are currently grappling with an inflation crisis that has sparked major protests. Sanjay Suri gets us this report.
Inflation is hitting home across Europe, and it's hitting home hard. So many countries that have for long been metaphors for prosperity and plenty, France, Germany, Britain, are seeing runaway inflation almost, and people are struggling to cope. France has seen massive strikes across the country on Tuesday, people demanding more wages to deal with inflation and the rising cost of living. Germany has seen protests in Berlin as inflation reaches almost 9%. And just today, in Britain, inflation has officially crossed 10.1%. This is now hitting food primarily, and that's where it hurts most. It's hitting the prices of milk, cereals, bread, and bread is such a metaphor for basic sufficiency in living right across Europe and right across the West. This is now a huge problem, both for governments, of course, and for people who are struggling to cope. And it's not just food, it's energy costs. They are going through the roof. In Britain, we've had reports of people switching on their heating later than they would otherwise, and it's not even winter yet. And winter across Europe is severe. If this kind of price rise continues, where the energy costs continue to soar at this level, coupled with inflation and the rising cost of food and near static wages, because wages are not being raised for fear that they would then fuel inflation. This is quite a bind now that Europe is in. Governments are struggling to find policies to mitigate this. There are projections that inflation already high will go yet higher next year, and in Britain it is officially projected to cross 13%. Independent groups are saying it will be more like 18%, and that is something that is bringing food poverty and energy poverty right across Britain and right across many countries in Western Europe.
All right, so that is Sanjay Suri reporting on the European inflation crisis. On that note, we have to take a short break, but up next, veteran leader Mallikarjun Kharge wins the Congress presidency.